Oh, you will sleep so well tonight knowing that your webshop has been completely secured following all these steps in this video. We're gonna secure your WordPress webshop right now. Log into your webshop. You might still be using WP Admin, which is the worst way to log in because it's known around the world, so bots can automatically try to log in using only this URL. We're going to secure and change this in just a minute. So what we need for our WooCommerce website to be completely safe is we're going to need a plugin. Press Add New. And the entirely free plugin we're going to use is type in iThemes Security. We're going to press Install Now. Press Activate. In here you can see the Setup button. You can press over here, Setup, or you can just go to here and press Settings. Let's set up our security step by step. I'm going to guide you through all these settings and explain them to you so you know what's going on. We're going to press e-commerce and we're going to set this up for ourselves. Then you want to select the WordPress roles given to the customers. I don't have subscribers on this website, but you might have. Or else just only select customers and press next. Now, do you want to secure your customer's account with password policy? When they're creating an account, they have to fill in a password. Most passwords are just really lame and easy to guess or to hack. Now, the problem with that is if someone can log into your system with a hacked account, there are more ways to hack you than when they are still outside. So yes, we're going to enforce a password policy for these users. Press next. Now this is one of my favorite features and one of the best ways to lock hackers out. Two-factor authentication. If we enable this one, no administrator will be allowed to log into your web shop without entering a code from, for example, your mobile phone. We're gonna set it up in just a minute. For now, we press next. And yes, we want to be secured against local brute force and network brute force. What does it mean? Well, the local is just auto bots or things trying to guess login details from your website. And then we can join a network which actually reports all kind of IP addresses so that you're already safe before they even try to connect to your website. Press next. With the Security Check Pro, I want this, and then every IP address that's trying to reach my server will be checked against the iThemes security server if they are okay. Press next. Here you can change user groups with specific security measures. If you just use default, the customers, they cannot manage the iThemes security. Of course, never ever allow this for your customers. They don't have access to the security dashboard. They need strong password. We will refuse compromised password. It will be checked against a list of leaked passwords. I would say for customers, they actually should be able to skip the two-factor onboarding because for customers, it's not that important that they really log in using their cell phone. It just causes a bit of irritation and frustration. However, for the administrations coming up, we're going to enable this. And then we press next. Now we are at the administrators. The administrators should have access security dashboard, but they cannot skip the two-factor onboarding because it is way too important for the admins. Press next. Then we have the editors. I've created a video about all the different user roles you can watch right here, which explain to you what the difference is between the admins, editors, authors, contributors, and customers. If you don't have any editors on your website, then leave this the way it is. It is excellent. If you do have them, don't enable skip two-factor onboarding because it's important also for editors because they have a lot of rights. Press next. Authors, exactly the same. Press next. Contributors, I would say contributors would be allowed to skip the two-factor onboarding. And everybody else should be enabled to skip it because they're not important. And then we press next. Then we're going to configure the rest of the settings. Press recommended. Then we have authorized host. This is your IP address that will never be locked out how many bad attempts you're trying to log into your own website. This is useful to put it on right there. So press add my current to the authorized host list. Like this. Very important, keep it there. Then we can change the IP detection to security scan check recommended, or you can just put it on automatic, manual, or disable entirely. I would say we should keep it on automatic because the security check scan will take a little bit more time before someone can enter your web shop. However, speed is very important in your web shop. If you notice, however, that you are on a lot of attacks, then you could change this to securities check scan. But for now, we're keeping this on automatic. This is the API configuration. They need your email address so you can actually make use of their API calls. So we're just going to add in our email address over there. If you want to receive weekly email updates, check this box. You will get a lot of information about the WordPress world and security. It's interesting, but if you don't like it, don't check this box. Now, this is the notification center. You will get a lot of emails, and I mean every single day, about what's happening on your website. However, you have to fill in an email address, so later on we can turn this off. You have to fill in your email address used by your web shop to send out mails. Make sure it's the same or else it won't work. And then you can actually change the default recipients, all admins or only me. Well, I'm going to change this to only me, and we're actually going to change the entire notification center in just a minute, because I own more than 10 websites, plus all my clients' websites. They're all configured with iThemes, and I don't like to receive 60 mails a day from different iTheme security websites. Press continue. Then we have the overview. It's just everything we have just configured. Just press secure site. And then we just press finish. Good work! Your site is more secure than ever. We are halfway, because now we have to tune some settings even further, because there are still some gates wide open. First, I'm going to show you the dashboard. Click on dashboard. The first thing we do is actually close this message over here. Well, then you can just change this all around just like a normal dashboard, which is excellent. What you can see is the banned users whenever your customer tries to log in, or some of your clients or whatever, they will be over there, which is useful to change and give them access again. The site scans are over here, which is really new, because iThemes saw that, for example, on my video, when I try to clean a website's malware, I always use a different plugin for that. But I like iThemes better than the other plugins. So what did they decide? To change the site scan from the pro version and put it into the free version. So that's why it is over there, and I'm really happy with it. That was one feature that was lacking in iThemes, but it's there. So that's amazing. Here you can see your logouts, just some beautiful graphs, data over here, and your database backups if you want to do that. Alright, let's just go to settings over there or settings over here, and now we can see a different kind of settings, because we have advanced settings and we have tools. And you have different multiple options. We're going to cover all of them. Don't worry, it's going to be very fun. So the two-factor authentication, we enable this one, and if you press on the gear icon, you will go to configure, so we're covering that later on. Go to logouts. All these things will be covered in the configure settings. Then you go to site check. You can monitor the site for unexpected file changes. You can turn this on, and then you receive an email every time a file has been changed. Just keep in mind that WooCommerce and your caching plugins and automatic updates will actually generate a lot of changing of files. So you will be notified every single time about it. To change it, will be covered in the configure settings, like this. Then you should add actually excluded files. You should go to WP content. And then you should, for example, use the ET cache. Select this one, this entire folder. And for example, if you create a lot of backups, you should choose this one and also add them into the excluded files and folders. And also, if you're using WP Rocket or something, it should say you have another folder called caching. Add it in over there, press save, and then you're fine. And then you have the site scan scheduling. This is actually a new powerful feature of iThemes. It protects your site automatically with site scans. This will scan your website twice a day. It might be a lot, so you can actually do it manually once a week or something, but I know you will forget it. So if you think, well, this is useful for me, just enable this one. If you notice that your web shop is very slow at sometimes, disable this one and do it manually. Go to utilities. In my last tutorial, I get a lot of questions that, yeah, I turned this on, but I still don't have the lock in my browser. No, you only turn this on if you already have this lock in your browser. And how do you get it over there? You need to go to your hosting company, enable SSL for your website, get a SSL certificate, like the Let's Encrypt free SSL, and then you can add in Enforce SSL. So that way, also on your server it's been enforced, and also within WordPress, everything will be loaded using HTTPS, which is safer. So definitely turn this on. Security check Pro, we already added it, and then we have the database backup. You can go to the settings right now and we can schedule it, for example. What does this do? It will send you a backup from your database, and you can do it within 1 day, or you can do it every day, or you can do it after 3 days again. For a web shop, your database will change every single day, because when a customer adds a new order, it's stored in the database. You actually want to have a backup every single day. But remember, when using this setting, it will email to you. Now, a WooCommerce database with a lot of products will actually get very big. So you will receive emails like 50 MBs or something. That could really add up. So you can also choose to just save them locally, and it will be stored in your WP Content Uploads Item Security Backups folder. And you can get them from there using your file browser from your hosting company or with FTPs. Just choose the one you want, but remember, if you just really turn this off, you wish you would have a backup when things go sideways. Make sure to retain them to, for example, 30 backups. After 30 backups, the oldest one will be removed to make place for the newest one. You can also put it on 15 or whatever you want. All the tables in your database should be backed up except the items, security, logs, stamp logouts, and all these things, because it's not interesting when restoring your entire website. Let's press save. Let's go to configure the global options. Of course, this needs to be checked or else nothing works. 10 minutes to logout. If a customer, for example, tries to log in and it tries 3 times in a row, like this 3 times, then it will be locked out for 15 minutes. You can actually change this to 30 minutes or change it to, for example, 5 minutes. I would say we change it to 30 minutes, because that way bots really can't enter your web shop anymore. However, if you've noticed that a lot of clients are complaining, I've been locked out and I can't log in, then you should change this to 5 minutes so they can call you and you can say, well, just wait for 5 minutes, try again, I will reset your password or whatever. This is how many days a logout should actually be remembered by iThemes. I would say 7 days is perfectly fine. What happens if someone every time he's being locked out by iThemes? Well, after 3 times he will be banned. They first get an error lockout message, and the message should be, you have been flagged by our security system. You have been locked out due to many invalid login attempts. Please contact our web shop if you ran into problems. And this one is also very good. Your IP address has been flagged as a threat by the Item Security Network. Well, I don't like the Item Security Network because then they know exactly what kind of plugin I'm using for my security. So as being flagged by a threat, contact your web shop if you ran into problems. Then we have authorized host. This is my own IP address. Very important. We already added it. You can fine-tune item security, how they'll be logging everything on your website, in your database, files, or both. It's completely up to you. I would suggest you use a file because your database is already under a lot of pressure because of WooCommerce. So you make sure you have the right hosting or else it gets really slow. How many days you want the log files to remember? Well, just keep them 180, that is okay. Here is the path to log files so you can always find them. And then the IP detection, we already talked about it. And then they have the UI tweaks, hide security menu in the admin bar. It is this thing over there. You actually can hide it because you don't use it a lot anymore after setting this up. So you can just press save. And when I now go to the next page, login security. And now actually it is gone from my bar over here. Alright, on the login security, you can actually change the two-factor authentication. You can choose the methods. You can use all methods, all except email, or just manually. And then you can just say, well, what do you want to do? Do you want to have backup authentication codes, the email, or only the mobile app? I like only the mobile app, but your customers might also like sending an email as a confirmation. Now, the setup flows, I would disable on first login. Why would I disable it? It's not safe. Well, you have to remember the first time your customer logs in and wants to place another order or see their status, you don't want to bug them with two-factor authentication. They only want to check whether where the package is, or they just want to place another order. So make sure it is on the next time they log in, because then they are determined, I'm happy with these products, I want to have it again, and then they actually want to do more effort to set up the two-factor authentication. Then you have an onboard welcome text. Tweak this text something like, you know that hackers try to steal our data every single day. When you log in using two-factor authenticator, you will be prompted to enter secondary authentication code from your phone or email. This really helps preventing your data from being stolen online. And then it's something more, and then you press just save. And then actually people understand how this works. We're going to walk through this in just a second. Then we go to lockouts. Here are the banned user agents. So if someone is banned, it will be added into there. So if someone calls you and says, I cannot log in, I'm banned, then you can actually unban them over here to just delete them. If you also want a default ban list, you can enable this function. Now you get a list from hackrepair.com by Jim Walker, which is very useful because a lot of IP address on that list will be attacking your website automatically. But if you notice that a lot of customers cannot enter your website anymore, then uncheck this one. Press save. Then we go to local brute force. I would definitely say automatically ban the admin user, because if someone tries to log in using the word admin, that's definitely about trying to log in or someone trying to be funny, but just ban them immediately. If your username is actually admin over there, then add a new user over here with another email address of yourself and change the username, make him an admin, log in using this username, delete your own one, and change the new user to something else than admin, so you can log in but not using the admin word. Then how many times do you want someone to be able to log in? Well, I would say 3 strikes is out, so you can only try it 3 times. Per user, I would also say 5 times. This means that they have a good username. Then they can only try it 5 times. If they try it within 5 minutes, I would say within 10 minutes, then that's bad login, and then they will be locked out and eventually be banned. And then we have the network brute force, just ban reported IPs, and then you have your API key, which is filled in automatically. Let's go to notifications over there. Now here's the notification center, and actually when you go to default recipients, that's great. But when I go to my security digest, this is something you should disable or put it on weekly status, because you will get updates every single day about who's trying to break into your website and who's trying to log in. Just disable this entire security digest like this and press save all. Then we go to site lockouts. Here you get a notification when someone has been locked out of your system. It could be useful. Maybe in your case, I don't like those emails because I get a lot of emails about site lockouts of bots just trying to hack me, and I don't want them. So press save it. This actually will send a copy of the database to this email address, or you can change it to whatever you want. This is the notification sent out for the new login URL. This is the two-factor email. Change your email over here. And here's the confirmation. You can also change it. Let's go to the advanced section, because there are still some things we need to change. For example, the file access. You want to protect system files and you want to disable directory browsing. What this actually does, it is protecting your system files to be changed by someone else. But they also can't use readme.txt, which is being used to check what kind of version of WordPress you have, so that they can see what vulnerabilities are on your WordPress system. We also don't want to pay PHP execution in uploads, plugin and themes, because I've seen a lot of times that malicious PHP files were uploaded into WP content to themes and plugins and upload files, and then they can execute it from outside to send spam via your website or just add in SEO spam. Then we go to WordPress tweaks, because in here we really have to change something. Now the file editor is appearance, and then you have a file editor over there. Normally you don't use it. If you ever want to use it, you have to uncheck this one and then it will be added back to there. But it is a good practice to keep it disabled. Then you have the API access using XML RPC. That is more of a curse than of a blessing lately. What this thing does, you can actually connect to the XML RPC and actually do a brute force attacks, because you can log into your system. When using a web shop, you should actually disable this one only if you're not using, for example, Jetpack or WordPress mobile apps, which I both actually don't use and I don't like them because it really slows everything down and it's just, I don't like the stuff. But also pingbacks are also working throughout this system. But if you want to have it enabled, then make sure to uncheck this box. Because this one, XML RPC allows hundreds of username and password guesses per request. So they can just brute force you in one night. But to be sure, press disable. Very important, if you notice that some programs cannot connect anymore to your web shop, for example, your bookkeeping software for your finance, make sure to enable this again and just uncheck this one. But for now, on this shop, I'm going to disable it because it will save a lot of brute force logins. Then the REST API, if you're not a developer and you're not developing on your live WordPress website, which I don't think you are, just press restricted access so we can actually close that gate also. Then you can change how users log in. Do you want them to log in with email address and username? Only the email address or only the username? The email address only is way more secure than the username only, because usernames are very easy to leak or to find in a website. It's the most safe way unless you're using info@yourdomainname.com to log in your website, then don't use it. But if you are in doubt, you can also use both of them because your customers on your web shop will also use these settings. I'm going to change it to email address only. Then we have to force a unique nickname and we want to disable the extra user archive, because when the archive is enabled, they can easily fetch all their usernames and use them in brute force attacks. Then we're going to press save and then we go to the hide backend feature. I really love this feature. Some experts disagree with me because they say, you've already changed the brute force login, so it's not necessary, but I really like it. Why? Because here you can change the WP admin to something completely different. And you can just put in anything here you want. For example, name of your cat. Or some of my clients have start. Or something like admin WordPress login like this. Well, just choose anything that's unique and only for your eyes only. You can change the register slug to wp-signup.php or something completely else. And when someone tries to fetch WP admin, it will be redirected to this slug, which should be not a chance, dude. Remember to save this login URL right now, because when you press save, you will be redirected to this new login. Are you ready? Press save. And now our settings have been changed. Now we also have received a new email now, which says new login URL. The login address for don't forget to like and subscribe has changed. The new login address is It's also in your mail because it's very important that you didn't forget it. All right, let's go to tools over there. First of all, let's identify the server IP address. If you press run, now it will check on the IP address of the server itself. So my server is in a Google Cloud and this is the IP address. Next one. If you have a user ID of 1, then we should change it to someone else. Press run. It has been updated. Well done. Then you go to the database table prefix, because 95% of the database table names are well known by hackers because of the WordPress system. Now, before using this tool, we strongly recommend creating a backup of your database, because when this goes wrong, your website will be destroyed. I'm not kidding, it will be destroyed. If you don't know how to create a backup, follow this tutorial, how to migrate your website, and you can use this feature also to create a backup to download it. So if anything's go wrong, you can just put your website back with ease. Then we go to check file permissions. We're just going to run this. So what this actually says is that every every value is alright for all the folders, and then they said, well, wp-config and htaccess is just 644. This is not unsafe, but it can just be a little bit safer. However, if I change this, then some of my things won't work anymore because, for example, my caching plugin needs the htaccess to change. If you see here things like 600 or 777 and these are red, then you definitely need to change those things. And you can do it within your hosting company. Go to File Manager, and there you can change your permissions, or using FTP. If you don't know what all this is, just ask your hosting company and they will help you out. Let's go to the server config rules. These are just the generated server config rules that are just added into your website. You can press run and then it will be added again. They already added it, so it's basically never needed, but when something goes wrong, you can add it in here, or you can just copy them to use it manually. The same is with wp-config. You can add run, but it's already been added there, or you can just copy rules. Then the WordPress source. Changing the WordPress source is actually not needed. However, if you have suspicion that your website has been compromised one way in the past, then definitely press this run button. And then we have the Security Check Pro, detects the correct way to identify user IP address based on your server configuration. We already did it, but if you want to do it, just add it again. So let's actually set up the two-factor authentication. First, what you do is you log out from your website. Remember the URL you changed with hiding the backend. Then we're going to log in again. And then we get this message, set up your two-factor. And here you can see our own message that we have just entered in here. Press continue. And now you can choose using the mobile app or the email. Disabled doesn't mean that it's not working. It means that you have not enabled it for yourself. So you actually cannot click over here. I think iThemes need to fix this because you cannot click over here. I want to click on this thing or press here an enable button. Now I have to click on the arrow over there. Click on it, and then you can use a iOS or Android, and then you can actually scan this. So on your smartphone, you can get any mobile apps you want. Authenticator, the Google Authenticator, the Microsoft Authenticator, whatever you want. For this example, I'm going to use the Google Authenticator. I cannot show you right now because I have a lot of customers in here. So I just press the plus icon on the corner right, and then we press on scan QR code. And then you see this, which you can use to actually scan this QR code. I'm going to scan it right now, and it's been added instantly. What you see is actually this. Don't forget to like and subscribe, because that's the name of my website right now. But we've added it. All right. When you've added it to your mobile phone, you press continue over there. And then you have to fill in the authentication code. In my case, it's 735945 right now, and we press verify. And now it has been enabled. And then we can also enable our email. Press enable, and now it has been enabled. And we press continue. Now it is set up and we are ready to go. Press complete. However, what I don't like is that you have to use mobile app and email. So we go to security settings over there. And we just go to this option. And then you can also disable email or just enabled. The only thing we didn't cover is the alerts. If you click on here, you will get security admin messages. The only thing I read here is this new features, and they release every other week. They release new updates, so they're coming into there. Really not that interesting. If you have questions or you just want to say, hey, thank you, Matt, drop them down in the comments and I will be glad to answer all of your questions and reply. If I helped you out, hit that like button and subscribe if you want to see more videos about WooCommerce, Divi or other WordPress related topics. I'll see you in the next video. Have an awesome day and sleep well tonight knowing that your webshop is completely secured.